Okay, Islam Sheet Dwayne Bey. I'm Rhonda Arrington-Bey as your wife. Today was an okay day. I'm leaving Burkane. It is March 22nd, 2022. I did experience 4 sharp pains. I don't know where they were coming from. I'm not accusing anyone. Behind my ear. I work from 10 a.m. to 4. I just got off work. Behind my ear and slightly in my frontal and my genitals slightly. But and my knee. But nonetheless, I'm well. I didn't exercise today, but I plan to exercise to starting and get not starting, but continuing tomorrow. So my work ethics were pretty much cool. I mean, I will not say cool, wrong word. Let me see here. Make sure I use words of what I'm trying to articulate, because I just had some thoughts of revelation, and Allah is great. Anyway, so basically, well, I did ask Phyllis if she wanted me to go in the dining room to do tables, and she said no. So. And she said, you can write that down in your book. I just said, okay. I don't know. So, anyway, I'll leave it at that. She said that a lot. I have said that, when I said a lot, a few times. So, I just stay on the front line taking orders. Let's see here. The same male, I don't know if where he's from, but he speaks Spanish fluently. He came, hold on, let me cross the road. So I'm not experiencing any 4 sharp pains now. It feels good to be healthy and express myself when I do experience 4 sharp pains. It's just like, it's wonderful to demonstrate irritability and still do not harm someone. Islam. So you can be irritated, talk to yourself, but if you live in a productive life and you're not harming anyone, then that is very important. And so, for example, I stated so many times, and this started pretty much after I came to Annapolis, but these are my thoughts and Imani Bey thoughts. I would not befriend African American male, female, or anyone here that's unnaturalized on a personal level, and unless they're part of my Moorish American nation and family. At first, I didn't say that when I first came to Annapolis. We came to Annapolis in June of 2016. And after being here for a few years and experiencing some of the things I experienced, I realized that, and then seeing the military that's supposed to be naturalized under the 13th Amendment 20 sections being involved, or the police, I just, made my decision. In reference to African Americans, I like to state this. All my life, I grew up around African Americans. I too was in that jurisdiction of African American. In fact, Maryland still have us under our straw man's name, so we gotta change that, but the federal government does not. So after I came to Annapolis, and as a Moorish American, this was not in New York, it was after I came here and stayed here for a few years and started to experience different things. That's when I realized and started connecting the dots, the importance of being naturalized under laws of freedom. Hold on. This is. You see the yellow truck? That's what I saw yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah. That. You see the yellow fire truck? Except the yellow fire truck in the Senate state yesterday, which was March the 21st, 2022, was bigger. So I never. So that's when I started to say, okay. I don't, there is a connection to being naturalized under laws of freedom and not naturalized, and some of the things I'm experiencing, I should say. For example, I kept giving testimony hearing African American accents saying I paid. Never in my life, ever in my life, have I ever experienced African Americans, blacks, saying they paid, and look at me and literally implying that they paid for me. Never in my life. And to know and understand some constitutional laws and know how you have to be under constitutional laws of freedom yourself, and then you yourself saying I'm black or African American, and then you pay taxes. So you paying taxes, but you're not lawful according to constitutional law, and then you saying you paid for somebody. So we learned as Moorish Americans it's lawful to pay taxes, but you're supposed to be in the constitutional fold to pay taxes. But when you're outside of the constitutional fold and you are paying taxes, you are being used as chattel property. There's a difference between having rights and having privileges. So as Moorish Americans, we have always upheld the Constitution, which involves paying taxes. But you're supposed to be in the constitutional fold to pay taxes. You have to claim a nationality to pay taxes. So when you have those that are pale skinned, they saying I'm white, and they paying taxes, they are not in the constitutional fold, and they paying taxes. So what does that say about them? If you have those that are Hispanic, and they have been naturalized not under the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, but under the 13th Amendment with 2 sections, the 14th and 15th Amendment, then they too are not paying taxes lawfully. And not only that, they're not naturalized lawfully. A foreign entity, corporation, has developed some form of naturalization that's not lawful according to the organic constitution. So this is what I learned being a student under Moorish American National Republic. It is lawful to pay taxes. So because in Annapolis, also those that speak Spanish have said they paid, or werewolf. You hear them say werewolf paid. And I told you about hearing those say the bird, like there's some type of mixture of something. And then say I paid. So when you're dealing with mental illness, when you're dealing, that was a police car. When you're dealing with mental illness, you cannot rationalize to people who have a thought or a program about how they should live their life and function in a society that does not promote freedom, does not promote and encourage individual thought and freedom. And so that's one of the biggest differences I see between our Moorish American Empire and those who recognize recognize that they are not Moors, but they are being naturalized or reintroduced to naturalization. Like some pale skins, I've been told, well, actually, Moors has spoke many times. Pale skins have been reintroduced to naturalization, and they're getting back into the constitutional fold. It's a huge difference, because then you start demonstrating and navigating under a whole new jurisdiction, which I'm still trying to figure how and that out. But just having the thought process of freedom is a separation. Another thing, I'm also pale skin as well. They are not the only one. They too are not exempt. Have behaved odd in Annapolis. I can't tell you, especially some with their dogs. It's like, really odd, walking with their dogs. So, anyway, getting back, and once again, just the fact, if they say white or pale skin, it lets you know that they're not naturalized. If a United States military say they naturalized, but they're not naturalized under the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, which was naturalized November the 18th, 1865. And in that, it says in Section 19, all men are free. It's saying all men are free. And so, in order for them to keep saying, because I've told you sometimes, I'm hearing the word I paid in military too close together, as if someone that is connected or to the United States military, Navy, and Army feel they have some form of authoritative position to pay for a natural free woman or her natural free son. Then that lets you know that they're not being naturalized. And so if they haven't been naturalized, then they're being used just like anyone else, and as weapons, slaves, chattel property. If they paying taxes. So once again, as Moors, we are taught it is lawful to pay taxes, but you're supposed to be in the constitutional fold in order to pay taxes. In order to be in a constitutional fold, you have to claim a nationality.
Hello.
Black, Negro, African American, pale skin, those are not nationalities. Hispanics not a nationality. And those that come over here, whether they're from the continent of Africa or different countries from Africa, whether they're from Japan, China, wherever, if they come over here and they go through a naturalization ceremony and they're not naturalized under the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, then they are not being naturalized properly. So what does that do? That places them in a jurisdiction. Because the 13th Amendment with 20 sections states in Section 19, and that includes those from Mexico. Here's a Mexican restaurant, that all men are free. So it is now 14 minutes. So otherwise, I'm going to do much today. This same Hispanic male looked like, I'm not sure if he finished that thought. I don't know if he's Hispanic or not, but he speaks Spanish. He came to Burger King once, and he was like saying something about boyfriend at the register, or is asking about my boyfriend, or mumbling sort of like a boyfriend, sound like he said it. And then Hamima, who said, I'm pretty sure she said she was from Mexico. I could be wrong, but that's what I remember. She asked me, did I have a boyfriend? And I asked her, why do you ask? And then, I wrote it down to my thoughts because I wanted to know, why would she ask that? Then the same guy again, who very dark complective. When I say dark complective, I'm saying about my complexion, or not a pale skin Spanish speaking, but my complexion. He came through the drive-through, I think it was last week, and Hamima took it upon herself to look at me, and because yes, that day she asked me if I was married. She saw my rings, and I said, "Why do you ask?" You know. Then the same Hispanic, or I don't know where he's from, but he has on a work uniform, like possibly working on cars. Anyway, he came through the drive-through, and Hamima took it upon herself to look at me and he said, "Bye." I said, "Don't tell me I said, "I'm married." You tell him I'm married. You know, I didn't imply that when he came to the register, I didn't imply that I wanted to engage with him. I'm working at a restaurant. I don't know if he's connected to the military or not, the Navy, the Army. I know many people that work for Burger King are connected or have been connected to the United States Navy and Army, but I don't know if he is. But I told her, I said, "You tell him I'm married," or I said, "I'm married." Then today he came to the drive-thru again, and she did the same thing, and he said bye. Like I said bye. I said, I told you to tell him I'm married. And a pale skin heard me. He said, "What does that mean?" I said, "I don't know what it means in Annapolis to say you're married, but it means for me to not tell me what that male have to say to me and on a personal level." And then I remember hearing people say something about, I think it was like that, definitely was Spanish speaking, saying they have a letter, and they were implying like they have Moorish American National Republic letter, and they have a recording. So I find this interesting. I'm not accusing Hamima, because when you're dealing with terrorists who do not respect laws of freedom, and they're trying to figure out how they can go about doing unlawful acts because they are outside a constitutional fold, then things like this, then they will do other things to hide what's really going on. So I've heard, and today, as I told Hamima, "Don't tell me what that male has to say to me," I did hear someone say the word brother at Burger King. That in the far distance, I thought I did. I could be wrong. I hear the word brother so much at Burger King or around. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I did. So once again, because of the odd behavior I experienced in Annapolis, in reference to hearing "we paid," "I paid," and other forced engagements, then I said, I definitely, I started connecting the dots: spirituality, mental, cultural, everything. I said I would never have anything to do with an African American or Black Negro, or those that speak Spanish that are outside of constitutional law, pale skin. And this came about I would say maybe about 2.5 to 3 years. So I think it was like 2020. Okay, it took time because I truly have never experienced some of the things I've experienced before, and then see the military and Navy involved, the Army and stuff being involved, are so close in connection. I never experienced it before, so it took time for me to develop these thoughts and say, okay, Imani and I, we need to separate as much as possible, because I could see how unlawful criminal acts could be done. And we're not from here, and nor do we participate in the social gathering and try to pin it on those who are not from here, or create a criminal situation to try to enforce a police police enforcement unlawful. Because when you are among those who don't respect freedom, constitutional laws, they pay in taxes as slaves. They behave and act the way that they have been programmed to behave and act. I'm not saying all in Annapolis are behaving this way. I'm just giving an example, but too many have. So they pay taxes as slaves, and they behave and act as the way they are programmed to act. Then you have to be careful, because when someone has been programmed or activated, it doesn't mean that the police is exempt from being activated. It doesn't mean that those that are connected to the military are exempt from being activated. And so in my thoughts, in my belief, I believe that there's a telepathic code that definitely exists, and there's different strands of it. And then those different strands of the telepathic code that Imani and I reject, they have done a lot of mixing, a lot of mixture of spirits. And so this is some of my explanations of some of the odd behaviors from those that will say that they're Black, African American, or those that speak Spanish, saying that they're werewolves, the Birdman, and whatever other mixture they put together in a lab, or a pale skin who are too cozy with their dogs. They're just a little bit too cozy, too lovey-dovey with their dogs. So another thing I remember about a week ago, well, actually, not a week and a half, maybe a week and a half ago, this is experiencing a thought. I remember when the 2 for $5 came about at Burger King. I'm going to use this thought. Okay? One of the things I noticed also, that which is unclean and filthy, that speaks Spanish, from Mexico, El Salvador, wherever, not all of them are, but there's a lot of them that speak Spanish. That which, like to say Black brother, that's African American and so forth, they plant a lot of thoughts. Because what I have connected was they have no birthrights and no inheritance. They have no birthrights and no inheritance. So many times in Annapolis, I would hear them say, she got a lot of magic in her. We need it. We need her. She loved your son. So why would you, if you are a rational being, go around speak about how someone has a lot of magic in them and how you need it and how she loved your son, I love her, brother. Why would you even, how do you develop thoughts like that? So getting back to the letter, before I say that, so I've heard them say, like unclean spirits, like I would assume, would say, we have the letter, definitely imply it was Moorish American National Public letter, and we have a recording, and I've given testimony hearing people walking outside and around our door at an extended stay, especially, or if I'm walking and I'm talking to myself. I talk to myself all the time. I talk to myself anytime I want to. I don't have to not talk to myself. I love talking to myself. That is my constitutional right to talk to myself. But I have never raped no one. I have never stalked no one. I have never molested anyone. And I have never killed anyone in my conscious, righteous mind. So when I see other people talking to themselves, I'm like, thank goodness, as long as they're not killing nobody. They're not trying to rape someone. They're not begging, saying, I love you, like an animal. So getting back, so the long story short, I'm at Whole Foods now, so I'm gonna lower my voice. So what I think what goes on in Annapolis is some shameful stuff. I think some real shameful energy, especially dealing with the humanoid robots. I think some really shameful sex trafficking has gone on for a long time. In Annapolis, sex trafficking with kids is nothing new. And for them to talk about it in Texas, California, and other places, why would it be exempt here? Especially with artificial intelligence, where artificial intelligence seem to have no type of, like if you've been programmed to think that they are something extraordinary, and really all they are slave masters in the making. So I think some really shameful things have gone on in Annapolis for a long time. So getting back, so the 2 for $5 deal been going on for maybe a month, and I didn't know. Thomas had started off letting people make the single quarter pounder king into a Whopper because people were still asking for the Whoppers. The Whoppers were included in 2 for $5 for a very, very long time, or the 2 for $6. And they were still coming in asking for the Whopper. So what we do is, what he did was made the single quarter pounder king into the Whopper. And I said, and so that's what I would do, especially when the customers would come in and ask about the Whopper on the 2 for $5. And I thought it was okay because I would charge them for the lettuce and tomato, and I would tell them that about the charge, that they would have to pay $1.20 more if they chose 2 single quarter pounder kings if they only have 1. But I would tell them about the charge and tell them that you can make the single quarter pounder king into a Whopper if you like, however you want to do it that way. The cheese is already on the sandwich, if you like. Because I heard Thomas, the manager, doing it, and he did, I don't know how many times he did it, but so I thought it was okay. Then one day this Asian guy, he came in, I think it was last week, and he asked for 3 Whoppers, and James rang him up for 3 regular Whoppers. And he was surprised about the order. He's a regular guy. He usually comes in with a coupon for a $5 Whopper meal. But he might have, I don't remember him coming into Burger King for the 2 for $5, asking for the 2 for $5, but he might have because the 2 for $5 has only been, if a month. It's probably been a month there. And like I said, the reason why I was doing what I was doing is because of Thomas and, trying to accommodate the customers who want the Whoppers, who want their sandwiches made like a Whopper. I thought it was okay. And I would say it out loud for about 2 weeks. No one corrected me. No one say, you're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do that. The manager right there behind me, no one said don't do it. And Thomas is a manager. So after the Asian guy complained about the price of the 3 Whoppers, to James, who was a manager as well, And then the Asian guy came with me with the receipt, and he said, this is not the price. And I was thinking to myself, first I was like, because I'm like, is he trying to, I was trying to figure, because usually the guy, I noticed he came in, he changed up, because he would come in with a coupon for $5 and go sit down and eat. Then I noticed when I put him for dine in, because he was doing it, he did it regularly for a minute. When I say a minute, more than 2 times, more than 3 times approximately. He took his meal to go, and I saw the cashier giving him a bag to go, and I was like, okay, I thought he was gonna have his meal for here, because he did it for here for a while, a regular customer. And then he came and asked for 3 Whoppers, and James was like telling him he charged him right, and he looked at me and he said, he didn't charge me right. And then I had the thought, but I was like, no, he usually come in with the coupon for a Whopper meal. And then Phyllis said she accused me, said that I've been giving, that I give away food, and I've been giving away food. And she said that's why I showed CJ the coupon. I said, you showed CJ the coupon, but you didn't show me or tell me about it? I didn't know, and I told her I didn't know. I said, I'm not giving away food. I didn't know. But the reason why, once again, is because they switched over to the 2 for $5 deal, and customers were so used to having the Whoppers on the 2 for $6 or 2 for $5, and they were like, and that's why. And Thomas was telling them how they can still have their sandwich made like a Whopper if that's what they want, but they got to pay extra. And so that's what I was doing. And she said I was giving away food, and she showed the ticket to CJ, but she never told me. She never said you're not supposed to do this. But ever since that happened that day, this happened within the past week and a half. When customers come in and they ask for the Whopper or the 2 for $5, just say no. The Whopper's not included in the 2 for $5. Burger King has the single quarter pounder king, the big fish, the big king, and the original chicken sandwich. And I do not mention a Whopper because of what was said. And but once again, she didn't tell me. She didn't say, Rhonda, don't even mention that they can have the Whopper, the sandwich made like a Whopper. She didn't say that. Then also, I noticed this past week, this black male customer was at the register, and I was taking this order, and I suggested sold the item, and James just came behind me, and he was like, will you ring up this man's order? Call him a man. Once again, going back to the word man. And I was like, I am ringing him up, and then he agreed to the suggested sale, because James started to complain and belittle me in front of the customer, and he used the word man, and I was like, okay, but the guy agreed to the upsell, and to the upsell of what I did, and then James walked away. But the point is, this is not the first time. It's like when I'm taking a black male's order. Once again, and I'm going to state this, I grew up around those who have considered themselves to be African Americans. I myself was under that term pretty much all my life. So I know many cultures or different cultures. I've been exposed to many cultures, but I don't know every culture. But I should say I've been exposed to many cultures. But I am the only one in my family, Imani and I, who have reclaimed their nationality. So what does that tell you? I have an aunt who specialized in African folktale and African American history. So that tells you a lot, because that's what I grew up around. To hear people in Annapolis start saying, man, she's racist. It's like, racist? What am I racist of? what is different about the African Americans and that the inhabitants in Annapolis than that which I grew up around? What's different about the blacks or those that speak Spanish than those that I grew up around? Besides them saying I paid and looking at me as though they actually have some authority to pay for someone. So this is getting back to after about 3 years, that's when I start definitely saying there's no way in the world that Imani and I know anyone personally here in Annapolis, or in, even before then, we already said we're going to keep our distance. But as time went on, it's like a book unfolding, and we realized why it was important for us to do so. Because then other things started to come about that I wasn't expecting. So still today, Thomas says, Mo. I have never been anywhere where someone is addressed or called by Mo ever, but you know, he had, you know, I just don't say anything. So anyway, I'm going to end this conversation with that, and there's other things I want to talk about. But today was an okay day, and I'm glad I'm able to speak my mind, and that reason. And in reference to, is there anything I want to say right now to finish that thought? Oh, I notice sometimes at Whole Foods, I'm at Whole Foods now, when I'm talking to myself or talking to my tablet, I'll look up, and some of the Whole Foods employees be looking over it. Let me show you. I'll use that thought. I found this so odd. One time I caught one. He looked like he was Spanish speaking. Like right here. Like a lot of times, because you know, this is only like 10, 15 minutes away from Burger King, 20 minutes away from the Center State. So I usually sit here. I might talk to myself. While I'm talking to the tablet, speak my thoughts out loud, so forth. You know, whatever I can do to articulate myself and trying to do what I need to do to live a productive life as a true American citizen, because I've been truly naturalized. And I might look up or look through the legs and see so sometimes I don't know if they're looking over at me or but it seems like they're looking over this area here, trying to see what I'm doing, or possibly I thought was. I could be wrong, but you know, when you have people saying lawsuit, I paid, I'm going to sue you, and this is what I've experienced in Annapolis. Like I said, I've never experienced anything like this before in my life. And when you have those saying, I paid, I'm going to sue you, or brother paid, werewolf, that's the Birdman, military. Just yesterday, a black male was outside our window with the USNA Navy sweater on, saying court martial, that's a good one. He used the word, that's a good one. Navy. He was saying just a whole bunch of military terms. And you know, I was a little skeptical. I paused from pulling back my curtains all the way, because I was like, who is this? You know, with this military shirt on, or it's just a regular shirt on? Because I asked someone a few years back, do you have to be connected to the military to have a sweater like that, or a shirt with the Navy emblem? And they say yes, you do, but I don't know for sure. So anyway. So when you're dealing with, when you know that there's a situation of sex trafficking, ways that those that have technological devices, they know how to deal with psychology, spirituality. You never think that someone can harness a demonic spirit, put it in a code, a telepathic code, and then put it into the population, give it to the population. Not only that, but use unclean demonic spirits as weapons. Use them as weapons of mass destruction, because you're so used to looking at the physical plane, but not thinking about the spiritual and mental plane. And that's exactly what's going on. So when there's a time when there's so much advancement, where that which is supposed to have uphold laws of freedom can actually harness unclean demonic spirits and use them as weapons to attack the mind, to attack the body, the organs, to rape and molest, then you really have to up your thoughts and your practices in spirituality, Islam.